We love featuring artists you should know about on the show, and today we're heading to Nashville to chat with Canadian singer-songwriter Ollee Owens. Ollee, she's based out of Calgary. During the pandemic, she rebranded herself, released an album called Cannot Be Unheard in 2022, a blues album that's dripping with emotion, and she just released a Christmas EP called For The Ollee-Days. Just came out last month. We're excited to have Ollee Owens on the show. First, Ollee, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, you are in Nashville. Are you playing a Christmas show this week, or what are you doing in Nashville?
Well, yes, I am certainly playing a show. That's on the 23rd, coming up on Saturday here, and also just in studio working on the next project. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do this week, and it's been going great so far.
Yeah, you're based out of Calgary. That's where you live, but you've been recording a lot in Nashville. How did you hook up with Bobby Blazer, your producer in Nashville?
You know, Bobby and I met during the pandemic. I'd done some through a friend actually, and we did a couple songs together at that time. And actually, the first record was mostly recorded remotely, just because travel was a bit crazy. So I was doing vocals up in Canada, and Bobby was taking care of all this music down in Nashville. So we kind of did what we had to do during that time. And then once the travel was a bit easier to do, we've been coming down to do our work down here in studio. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Bobby's just a fantastic person, and really kind of gets, what I want to, the sound I want to create as an artist. And so it's just been a great match.
Yeah. You've got an interesting story. We'll talk about the pandemic, but you became a mom at the age of 21. You raised your three daughters. You got back on the stage in 2015 at a Calgary singing like it was a weekend jam. How did that happen? How did they get you back? Were you hanging out? Were you invited? What happened?
Well, actually, it's kind of a cute story. So there's a guy that moved to our city. He's a musician, and I knew him growing up. In fact, I used to babysit him. So that was kind of a funny thing. He moved to town, and he's a great musician, fantastic musician. He was actually really kind of working the scene in town, and he kind of said to me, "Hey, you should really come with me. Let's go jam. Like come out to the jam." And I was like, I don't know. I had kind of put that aside for a while to raise our girls, and but he just kind of kept at it, and for sure enough, I went, and I think just getting on that stage and feeling that energy between the audience and the stage, and just being able to be in that spot, just singing and doing the thing, it just really kind of ignited something in me. And from there on, once that happened, opportunities started coming and invitations started coming to start, playing gigs and stuff like that. And then one thing led to another, and here we are today. So yeah, it was kind of all because of that friend, kind of. He kind of got me started. I credit him for that.
Yeah. Well, you've been playing guitar since you were 12. You're a great guitar player. Was your family into music?
Yeah. My dad, in particular, he had kind of a band that he played regularly in the local area. So he kind of, I think, was the inspiration for me. I really wanted to kind of learn to play guitar like him, and so I picked it up at 12, and kind of fumbled my way through it, and kind of was self-taught for many years. And and then my brother started playing, and then we would play as a family, and I started playing with other groups in the area as well, in kind of my early teens and stuff. So yeah, it was music was a huge part of our family. Stereo was always going with all the classic rock and old country and gospel, and my mom loved Elvis and the Beatles, so we were pretty well rounded. We got a lot of good music growing up.
Yeah, well, and your mom, I think she had you when she was 18. So, growing up was tough. Is it because did blues grab you? Was it because of your upbringing that it resonated?
Man. I think yes. Yes, it was. I think I still remember hearing, the Delta Blues the first time, and that just, I think at that moment I was like totally hooked, and the emotional intensity of it, the I don't know, there's just there's just something about it that really, really grabbed me. I remember my brother and I kind of discovered at the same time. He was learning to play guitar, so we just, we really dove into it, and listened to a lot of the old blues stuff, and it has definitely served as an inspiration for me. My writing and what I choose to perform and all that. It's been a huge part of what I do, for sure.
Yeah, go and check out Ollee. It's OlleeOwens.com. It's OLLEE. OlleeOwens.com. She's also on Facebook. She's on Instagram. Her latest Christmas album, Home for the Ollee-Days, is out now. Well, you released an album, Unchanged, in 2018 under your given name. But then COVID hit. You had time to reflect. You rebranded yourself. How did this all happen?
Well, yeah, it was COVID just was an interesting time, I think, for all of us. And I found myself really going back to my roots a lot, thinking a lot about the people in my life that had impacted me and influenced me. And two of those people were my grandparents, and my grandma Ollee and my grandpa S. Owen. And so, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to pay tribute to them, and just kind of carry, my grandma was a very tenacious and adventurous, strong woman. And, my grandfather, he was a bush pilot up north in northern Canada. And, again, that adventure. And I really wanted to kind of move forward as an artist and adopt a name that was memorable, but also carried a real, a lot of personal meaning for me. So that's how Ollee Owens was kind of born out of that. And at the time, my grandma was still here, and so I had taken her out for a little, coffee, and talked to her about it. And she was just so honored that I had asked her if I could take the name and run with it. And she's since passed. She passed in February of this year, and it's exciting to be able to have that part of her with me, wherever I go in my art. So it's been a cool thing. I'm really glad that I did it. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and with your mom being 18, having you, your grandparents were a huge part of your life. Did you guys all live together when you were a kid?
Well, it's the early years. I think, until my parents got on their feet, and miraculously, my parents were 17 and 18, and they're still together, which is quite a miracle. But, it's a rare thing. I think they're going on, 40-some years now. But those early years were tough, and my grandparents really stepped in, and so I spent a lot of time with them. We weren't all living together, but I certainly, spent a lot of time with them while my parents were working and trying to get on their feet. So, there was a particularly strong bond I had with them as a result.
Yeah, and Raging Fire, one of Ollee's songs, is a tribute to her grandma's wisdom, and cannot be unheard. The title of the album is a lyric in the song. I mean, how awesome is this song to you, Ollee, and how hard was it to write? The song itself, I wanted to capture, these. I had so many conversations with Grandma, growing up, and there was all these wonderful things that she kind of, passed on to me, and so this song in particular, it was interesting. Songs come to me in a couple different ways. Sometimes I'll have a melody in my head. Sometimes I'll have one line, sometimes it's just the lyric just kind of pours out. And Raging Fire was kind of like that, actually. I think I remember I only wrote it in a day or two, and it just kind of came out and it flowed. And for me, it's particularly a special song in that way. And I wanted to kind of capture the essence of kind of that bluesy, like reach back in time a little bit, but then also, we took the groove, we kind of used it a little bit, so it has this real kind of gutsy feel, bluesy feel to it. But there's also that emotion of, kind of that warning, like, man, the stuff we say, and, it's got power behind it, right? And so I thought it was a poignant reminder too for these times we're in. Hey, we all have different opinions on things, but that doesn't mean we can't get along, and so. So for me, it was just wanting to really capture that in a song and put it out there. So, yeah, it's a pretty special song. Yeah, it's a great song. Go and check it out. You can check out the video. And actually, Ollee's grandma is in the video. So it's a cool video. There's even a behind the scenes you can check out too. That's really cool. Go check out Ollee, OlleeOwens.com. She's on Facebook, Instagram. Home for the Ollee-Days is out now. This is a Christmas album. This thing is amazing, Ollee. It sounds great. I mean, why a Christmas album? Why now?
Well, it's funny. It's funny. I think, the holidays, for some people, they're the most wonderful day of the year, hey? And yet for others, it's complex, like there's those people that you kind of like, you anticipate seeing, you can't wait to see them. Then there's the ones like Uncle Bob, you're required to see him at the family event, and you're like, oh, and then there's the ones we long to see, that aren't maybe around for whatever reason, whether they're passed on or they're just not in our life. And I kind of, when we were putting this thing together, I just wanted to create some songs that was a little bit of something for everyone, like maybe somebody's missing somebody, or, there's, or maybe, there's a bit of sass, I mean, there's going to have the blues this Christmas has a bit of sass in it, and there's the sadness of please come home for Christmas and Weary Silent Night and Christmas tears. But I just kind of wanted to create a little something for everyone on this record. And I was fortunate, I work in the studio with some amazing guys down here. And, they've all played with so many different people, and they've been around in the industry for over 30 years, 40 years, some of them. And so, it's just great to be able to capture that vintage sound. That was something we really wanted to grab. For me, that's my favorite kind of Christmas music. So it was a combination of wanting to create some Ollee, Christmas music by Ollee with that vintage sound, and then something for everyone. And so I think we came close to that for sure on this one. I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, and Bobby produced this thing. It sounds amazing. It's really well done. Go and check it out. Home for the Ollee-Days. And you just posted a video. If you go to YouTube, check it out. Oh Holy Night, a video which is really cool. I don't know who did this, but tell us a little bit about this, because it's about hunting, feeding your family for the holidays. I mean, we're in Wyoming, so this is like perfect for us.
Oh yeah, no, so Oh Holy Night, that's also one of my favorite Christmas songs. And originally, we were just going to record it. We weren't sure whether we were going to do a video, but once we recorded it, and that's the cool thing about going into the studio, songs kind of take a life of their own. And once that version started to come together, and we decided to do the orchestration on it, it was just such a, I might be a little biased, but it was just a beautiful version. And our team, we started to talk about a concept of a video for it. And this idea came up, of the video where we'd have a guy and he'd, kind of go out. It's Christmas time. He gets his Christmas dinner and comes home and shares it with his dog. And for me, I grew up in a hunting family. The rivers and lakes were my parents' grocery store, and we didn't have much, and so that was our huge source of food in the winter. And I remember the excitement, as kids. It's like, Dad got a deer. That's awesome. We got some meat for the winter. And, and so this storyline really resonated with me. And I know there's a lot of other families out there too, and, that have a lifestyle like this. And I think, even more to that in these times, just surviving these days is tricky. Yeah. Look at the food prices and everything. It's insane, all the cost of living. And interestingly enough, we're coming across a lot more people that are turning to this sort of lifestyle to provide for their families. And, so we felt, that, in some ways people might scratch their heads and go, what does that have to do with Oh Holy Night, But the song itself was written in the mid 1850s during, a time of great economic disparity in France. And so, to me, there was just a correlation. It talks about oppression and it talks about those things. And, and so it's seemingly incompatible in narrative, but I think if you kind of give yourself a moment to consider things, it actually, it's really not that far apart, So no. Yeah, we and we're fortunate to work with a guy up here in Canada. His name is Travis Nesbitt, and so he's produced actually a number of my videos already, and he just did a fantastic job. I was just so happy with how he shot the video. And yeah, we've had a really great response. We've had actually all over North America, from into Europe. People are responding really well to it, and it just is a pretty special film. That kind of all came together, and we were able to get it out in time for the holidays this year. So.
Yeah, go to YouTube, just type in Oh Holy Night. You can type in Ollee Owens. It's a short film that just came out about 2 weeks ago now, December 7th. But yeah, and you mentioned it. It was written in 1847. Oh Holy Night was well received at the time for its message of hope, because it was marked by political instability, societal oppression, and economic disparity. Boy, sounds like today.
Yeah. I know. When I read that, I was like, wow, I had no idea, right? Because oftentimes you don't really know the history behind the songs, but I just thought, man, what a song for today.
Yeah, and it's very well done. It's a beautiful video. Go and check it out. Oh Holy Night. Well, Gonna Have Blues This Christmas. This is on the EP. Home for the Ollee-Days. This is an original song, which, I mean, it's some people like original Christmas songs, some people like the traditional ones, but this has still a traditional feel.
It does, yeah, and I think that's what I loved about it. It's kind of got that Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas blues kind of feel to it, and I just loved it, and it just had to be on there, and I kind of love the sass that it had too. It's a little more, kind of fun, upbeat song, and yeah, we had a lot of fun with it, doing that thing in the studio, and yeah, it's just a real fun song, and my hope is it can become maybe over time, people will hear it and be like, yeah, I remember that song from last year, and keep on playing it. So at some point, it might become someone's favorite Christmas song. So
exactly. Hey, you never know. That Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, the number one song this year, I think the lady wrote it when she was like 13, and she's 70-something now.
I know. I saw that. That's just so awesome. I love that song. I've always loved that song, so I'm glad that it's getting good credit now.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be in Home Alone 20. With Gonna Have Blues This Christmas, because that's where she got Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, but
totally.
Crazy. So what are we doing? We're in Nashville. I guess we're going to run home after the show and have Christmas in Calgary. What's your plans?
Well, we're going to try. We're flying home on the 24th. We're going to get on that plane at 6 a.m. and we'll cross our fingers, and we'll get home in time for Christmas. Yeah, that's so, barring there's no snowstorms in our connecting city.
Yeah, it says it might get nasty around here then, but hopefully you'll fly right over the top of it. And what do the daughters think? What do the daughters think about Mom now?
It's been pretty cool, I think. They're huge supporters. I think for me it's been exciting to be able to pursue a dream that I've had since I was a little girl, and for them to watch that kind of unfold. My hope is that it's going to inspire them to never give up on their dreams, that they'll feel like it's never too late, and I'm hoping they'll pursue it sooner than they ever feel that way. But, I think for them it's been kind of fun, kind of watch their mom, kind of spread her wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and how do you feel now that things are back to almost normal after being in Canada during the pandemic?
Yeah, it's certainly, a lot busier, a lot, we're all out there doing our thing. I mean, I think things have changed. I know that, the live shows are really where it's at for a lot of artists right now, just getting out and being with people and touring. And, so for me, it's been exciting. I mean, that's like the best part of it all for me as well. So, I'm glad that we're all getting out there. I think people are still maybe getting used to getting out. I think some artists, I know even some of the bigger artists up in Canada, they're touring regularly. It's just getting people to come out to the shows. It's the best way to support us as artists right now, the way that the industry is. And so we appreciate people coming out, and I think it's coming. I see, especially summertime, all the festivals and stuff like that. And, I do a lot of, I travel to the small towns. I'm doing house concerts. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, from full band to house concerts to wherever I can go. And, it's been so wonderful to be with people again and see their smiling faces, and it's just a real joy. I love. That's the best part of this. Best part of this career is getting out and being with the people. So.
Yeah. Go and check her out. Go and follow her, OlleeOwens.com. She's on Facebook, Instagram. And here is her single, Gonna Have the Blues. It's off of Home for the Ollee-Days. Ollee Owens, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's KIX 96.5.